and wellness, everybody. Welcome back to the B.R.O podcast.
Yeah.
You are here with your boy 6666. And to my left, we got...
What's up, man? It's Jason Starr, STARR.
And...
It's Coach to the Coop.
B.O.O.
Y'all know me. All right. Today's episode.
Woo. Here we go, just load this shit again.
Hey, I'm back. I'm back at it, and we still in that month, and I'm in my mood.
The provocateur.
Hey, I'm really a happy person. I just gotta catch me outside. Today's episode.
Can confirm.
Today's episode. The price of the provider.
The price of the provider.
Wow.
Wow.
Right? And I know it's loaded, but we have to have that conversation because I think that's the one that dominates the algorithm. It dominates the waves, the media waves, and everywhere you go, you just, we're not going 50-50.
Money matters. Money matters.
Money matters, right? And I think it's this myth of the black male provider. And what is that? And we hear that all the time, right? And we know that that's one of the things that black men get stuck in is being that provider, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we are in February, and then I have a question. Is providing love or is it survival?
Wait, what? Say it again?
Is providing love or is it survival?
Like providing as in being a provider.
Yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, because context matters and language matters. So are you saying, is it providing love or is it survival or
Is the act of providing love or survival?
is the act of providing love or survival?
It's just a thought.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of indifferent to the question.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being honest, when I think about love and when I think about survival, they don't run together at all.
Mm-hmm.
There's no parallels to it. To me,
Mm-hmm.
when I love, I think me providing love again is it's an act of showing attributes.
Mm-hmm.
Like consistency, reliability, dependability. So the act of all those things will produce a loving relationship. And then survival is, to me, doing things based on a deficit.
Okay.
Meaning something is compromised or something potentially can be compromised. So I'm doing it to either save it, to save face. So the intentions are very different. So yeah. This is a big one.
All right. What about you? What you got for us? What you think, Jay?
I may be the provocateur this episode. Because obviously, we talked in our last episode about emotional wellness and that dimension of holistic wellness, and talking today about the financial, wellness piece of it. And, some of my trauma really sort of goes back to financial providing, being the thing that is like, well, of course I love you. I took care of you. I made sure you had a roof over your head. I made sure you have food. And, growing up and kind of going back and reparenting, going like, oh, wait a minute. But did you take care of my emotional health and needs? Did you raise me in that way? So when you ask this question, the things that come up for me are how do we think about, particularly as Black men, the role of being a financial provider in relation to the role of being a protector, a lover, a parent, a partner. Yeah, and the ways in which that might be in tension and may explain some of our emotional tendencies as men.
Okay.
I didn't even think about money when I thought about provider.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe because I've been I do this work for so long, but again it becomes a habit or habitual. But yeah, I actually thought about like in relationship, and not to go spiritual, like when you know, like my relationship with God has nothing to do with money. Like whenever I even
Don't try to church that.
I'm just saying, like,
So you don't get your 10%.
yeah, well, I never pray for money. I pray for favor, and I think that's relational. So when I think about the way the question was posed, is providing. That's why I think I struggle with it, because providing for me didn't even go to money. Because if I got it, right, like if I got money or money comes my way, if I love you, you have access, right? So the money for me, but it's a tool that navigates or sustains the environment that you are dwelling in. It doesn't. I don't give from that standpoint. Like I have to give to you.
Okay. And so here's why I wanted to lead us down this road, right? First, when you think about that couple, provide. I knew it was loaded because it comes with so much, right? And do you provide? Am I providing you a physical thing? Am I providing you an emotional thing? And then that providing has that financial component to it. And then we are always confining ourselves in that aspect. Or I found myself confining myself in that aspect that I'm only as good as what I give. And that was my whole basis of like transactional relationships with people or women or with relationships is what does it mean? What does it give me? What do I get from it? And it was toxic. It was toxic for me. It was toxic for how I think I was operating in my spirit. And so that got me on a journey of like disconnecting and figuring out what are these words and their meanings, right? And that's why I think looking at the financial wellness part of it, when we talk about what does that mean to be well with it, is understanding the levels that it exists in.
Yeah.
Right? Understanding that wellness in our financial sense is not just how much we have, it's our relationship with all of that. Whether am I in the right space? Am I doing a thing that fills me with purpose? Does it carry favor? So I wanted to have that conversation because I know a lot of brothers get lost in that. And then thank you, Jason, for like being vulnerable, like of that. It triggered that earlier memory for you, right? And so I wanted to just quickly just kind of like, what was like your first like, and if it doesn't be money, it doesn't have to be, but your first money lesson or a thing that when you heard this, like, what did it come to you like a specific moment when you think about providing?
Well, and again, I'm not, when I responded to it, this is years of Barry doing my own personal work. And also I have the privilege of doing this type of work every single day. And even hearing when Jason was talking about, the protection, like what I was hearing was like, you put a roof over my head, but what about your character towards me under this roof? So I think for me, providing has become more of like how I give my character to you, versus like the tools that we use to, again, operate in our environment. So my first money lesson was both seeing my parents bump heads about finances, and in the relationship with my daughter's mother is one of the things that dismantled our relationship, because where I was at that time definitely wasn't the man I am now, and I for sure did not have the finances flowing in the way that they should have been. Well, not even should have been, the way my life was set up at that time. So, we broke up based on finances. So much so that I made a vow to myself that this tool I will never be without it, right? Like I will always create a world, because I realized after seeing all of the toxicity around me, around money, social media, everything is like, what have you done for me lately? This, that, and third. So I was like, oh, okay, is this how this operate? Now I have it to the point where that conversation will never come up for me again. Like, so for me personally, if this is the tool that I need to have any type of whatever that is, respect, blah, 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 I got it. I'm going to make sure I have that tool all the time. But then I'm going to operate through my character. And if you decide that my money ain't enough, now you're going to have a hard decision to make. Because are you going to walk away from this character? Or are you going to walk away because you need an ATM machine? And I challenge in my relationships that way all the time because I know my character is worth more than anything I got in my pocket.
Ooh.
So my money story or my money lesson came from, I guess, both and building myself to a point where I could take care of myself, whether a person is with me or not, and they could feel that, and then also understanding that my providing comes from who I am and who I strive to be every single day.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a hard act to follow. But actually, so the question was the first money lesson and money lesson, right? Like my mind went to well, first I'll ditto the seeing my parents and adults in my life not talk to each other at all, except when they were arguing about money.
Ooh.
So that was a milestone there, like, and where I was starting to develop this relationship to money and the idea of money before I even realized it. But I'll actually take it to a experience of me being like a young person in school, right? So we were poor, but I didn't know it because like everything's relative, right? So I'm looking at like, I got like lunch every day.
Yeah.
Like our lights really ain't never get cut off like that.
Yeah.
I had a place to do my homework.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I had food.
Yeah,
My grandfather was a farmer. Like, you know, we lived a lifestyle I couldn't understand poor. I mean, of course we watch TV and you see like Michael Jackson and on TV. I mean, that's, you didn't really think about your...
Talking to the mics on the
Right, that's different. That's way different, right? But what happened is as I got older and down south, we have this little saying, up north you can get high, but you can't get too close. And down south you can get close, but you can't get too high as it relates. So I always went to school with white people because poor whites, poor blacks, we always the same place. But then I go to middle school especially, that's when they start tracking you, right? And it's me and Roderick, wherever you at, Roderick Hinton, shout out. And a bunch of, right? And my mom worked in the medical field, but like in medical records, right?
Yeah.
So now like, I'm like going to school with the doctor's kids that like my mom, worked for, et cetera. And I was killing them. They were like, why you make he get all the awards, he get all the grades. And they're like, well, he just smarter than you. Kind of situation. But I started to realize how much more money they had. Like when they were talking about where they were going in the summertime and like just when you started going and get your first cars and we having a study group at somebody's house. I'm like,
I didn't know the ceilings go up that.
Right. Then you start to be like, wait a minute, like
you got your own room?
Who am I? Then you start to see the stratification and that value. But I will say that, so I go to school in Miami, private school. And the tuition, I got a full scholarship. And I was going to the little window to pick up the refund check they was gonna give me so I could go buy my books and I could go to Dayland Mall and get me some clothes, right? And I saw in front of me, at that point, it was like, tuition was like $38,000. So, that back then in 2005, that was a lot of money, right? Yeah. That was more money than my mom made. And I'll never forget, we went up to the thing to get my check and the people in front of me, the guy pulled out a checkbook. He was like, how much is it? And wrote it and just paid it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in a totally different situation. And the reason that was a big lesson for me is because I felt like for me, that was a big fork in the road. And that was everything that was in my head was telling me, yo, you need to major in finance, you need to become a doc, like you gotta, whatever. But everything in my heart was telling me that's not your ministry in life. And I realized that because of where I was putting myself, the places that I was going, the environments that I was going to be in, that I was going to start to have this tension around what everybody else saw as valuable out of that experience, right? Even now, I'm 40-something years old, I go back home and my family think I'm rich. I'm like, I didn't take that pathway, baby. Yeah. I had to take this other one. But it was a good lesson to sort of remember that I never knew I was poor until somebody else, right? And that the richness that I had was what I was going to need to build a foundation on if I was going to actually
Yeah. And it's so many nuggets in that, man.
And I'll take that and from that because I think I fell in the middle with that one where I was like, again, the world what it is now, and I'm like, shout out to Betty Boo, that's my mom. She did the same thing. She insulated us from the idea that we were poor.
Right.
Like, I'm from Miami, downtown, Little Haiti, uptown North Miami. Shout out to all the boys.
Little River.
Okay. 66th Avenue, you already know. But my mom did such a good job of celebrating everything.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I didn't feel anxiety about birthdays because my mom, whatever little money she had, she make sure we had a party. And we'll get gifts year round. And she was like, we ain't gonna stress about Christmas because anytime we got money, we gonna have fun. And like I watched this woman literally always make it her priority for us to feel joy. And so like I never felt like I went without. And life happens. And growing up in Miami, you see it all.
A lot of wealth. Yeah.
And so, but I never felt envious of it because my mom filled our house with joy. And so my money lesson came later when I started, dating and, I met somebody that came from the other side of it. And it was their parents calling me poor. And then I'll never forget dating a young lady. Her daddy was a doctor. Her mom was in medical health business. And they're like, you brought this little street rat to our house? And I was like, I'm the street rat? And I heard them arguing about just like, where he come from. And I was like, oh shit. I'm her bad boy. I'm her little Haiti bad boy. And I didn't even know that. I thought we were cool and I didn't. And so like, it was that percent, like other people had to show me that. And then I was like, oh, and then I will always give my mom reverence for that I never felt that until somebody showed it to me. And then you learn to navigate it as you go on with life. But
I mean, there's something in there that I'm wondering if like a lot of young people feel it is like based on your financial status, are you bad?
Oh, I don't even know if that's young people. I think that's
I never
a lot of value and self-worth tied up into where you are financially.
But like the act of like so the self-worth part is one, but like I'm your bad boy, right? Like that poverty makes me a threat. Or in like an endangerment to you. And that's a thing, right? Because I think what we don't think, what's coming up for me is like, if I'm quote unquote, I don't have what you have, then I become this anchor, right? Or I'm holding you, or I'm restricting you, and that's not necessarily a positive thing. So this idea of like, because what is poverty? Like, what does it mean to be poor? Like, you didn't know you weren't poor because you had the necessities provided to you. Yeah, it was more like you knew you was eating. You knew your parents little now. Were you having lobster every single night? No. Can you bust a check and pay for someone's tuition? Absolutely not. But that didn't mean that you didn't have.
Right.
So like, what does it mean to be poor? I think, but that goes to like that psychological, like, they called their daughter in the room and made you feel negative about this.
Yeah. And I never ate at their house. Like, I was petty. I never forget. I left. I went home and I told my mom what they said. And my mom was like, she looked at me and she said, you know what? They going to make that decision about you. They going to judge you like that. But you know where you going. And don't let that define you. And I was just like, word. And if it wasn't for my mom telling me not to even think twice about it, it might have like weighed a little bit more on me.
Absolutely, because you're young. Like,
yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah. I worry about that for everyone, but really obviously for our young men and boys, because and what I worry about specifically is the relationship between masculinity and understanding what it means to be a man and consumption and consumerism, right? And like there's a lot of manosphere stuff out there right now. Maybe we could be accused of being in the manosphere, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Okay. But I notice a lot that a lot of content is really geared towards how much can you consume, and even the idea of now one can be a content creator and to some degree, the barriers to wealth may look like they have come down. Before the three of us sitting around a table, any one of us may have never looked at our financial outlook and been like, yo, next year or the year after, I could be a multimillionaire. Yeah. Whereas now you got I was having this conversation with my 17-year-old, I'll call him my nephew, my cousin's kid, right? And he he making, he drop shipping and making money. 30K a month, and I'm just like, or you got someone who hits it high on TikTok, and they're going from working at the spot down the street, like we started to buying the bottle for us, at 18, 19, 20 years old, and that relationship to money and not necessarily having a really holistic view at one's wellness. We can get a little bit too focused on the financial wellness piece of it because we understand the importance of economic security. We understand the importance of wealth building. And we also recognize the ways in which power has excluded us from that. Right. So we also are driven by, restoring or overcoming those gains. Yeah. I think all great reasons to pay attention to this aspect of our wellness. But I do think there's just this dangerous piece of the people that have something to sell want to sell it. You want to sell it to the most people as possible, right? If I got $100,000 car that I'm putting on the market, then I want people to buy it. I want it to be a status symbol, et cetera. And if we're doing those kinds of things without inquiry into the other aspects of wellness, then I think we can get real imbalanced and start to let money motivate us in ways that are not healthy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think you said it a lot. You said it in a way that I really wanted us to get to, because there is a direct link to my worth as a man is tied to my worth of what I have. Yeah. And I think it's to the point now where we define ourselves literally by these check marks, these status symbols. I'm my car, I'm my bag, I'm my watch, I'm my vacation. I am always tied to these capitalistic things. Absolutely. Which I understand the system is how it's constructed and we have to live to survive. But when everything about who you are is tied to what you have, my network is defined by my network. I think it diminishes who we are as people and as men. We limit ourselves and it's scary.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's scary that every day. Yeah, I'm so happy. Let me say this. There's things that keep me up at night around the external stuff, like finances and things like that. But it's more from the aspirations to make sure that everyone around me is good, even though I know I'm not fully responsible for it. But it's not solely tied on who I am as a man. Yeah. So, and I think that's we have to be very, very sensitive when we start to think that the material things or the things that's external of us make us who we are. They enhance it, right? They enhance who you are, but they don't make you, or you know what I mean? And we shouldn't allow that to be the center of how we are operating as people who were given provision, right? Or provided, because we do provide things, but we'd have to just be very clear that the material aspect is the bonus or the byproduct of the character. My providing or my provision is rooted in my character. Yeah.
You're right, because all money ain't good money, even though it might be able to get you good things.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think how one goes about, getting their money, I think is a question. Does it drive you to do things that are detrimental to other aspects of your wellness, overall wellness?
What you gave us was, I think, dope. And if you could simplify it for the fifth grader in me.
Yeah, man, just that, the our economy is structural.
Okay.
And the idea of like being ultra wealthy, I brought up the examples of the billionaires, Rihanna's a billionaire, Beyonce and Jay-Z are billionaires, et cetera. And we kind of look at and view those as the watermark for financial success and well-being. And I worry about that insofar as it blinds us to the reality that we're kind of locked into this system where particularly Black folks are just losing ground when it comes to economic opportunity and wealth. And, that's true of generations, right? Like you go out now to anyone that's in their early 20s trying to find an affordable apartment in New York City, for example, right?
No.
And then you hear the people a generation before talking about how, they could go over here to Bed-Stuy and get an apartment and have a decent place to live and et cetera. So for our people, just making sure we understand that the thing that we may need to be targeting when it comes to our financial wealth may need to shift to a more cooperative and community view of like, how are we making this work for all of us if we are going to actually confront these structural impediments as a community of people, right? And not as individuals who happen to escape our the reality of our brothers and sisters.
So here's some 6 hot takes real quick. Just based off of what you said and what Barry was giving us about this, it's really about your character and that defines your worth, right? Hustle culture is just capitalism in a do-rag. I said it. We glorify it, we beautify it, we turn it into this I thing. And the moment you separate the person from the community, you've lost the fight. That's just what I think. And the celebration of billionaires. I can't, if I see one more thing advertise billionaires and celebrate wealth and forget everything that is like constructually created to keep us poor and not have that conversation, it is not about the collective we, you lost me. You can't budget your way out of systematic oppression.
Facts.
I'm gonna say it. There is no planner, there is no saver that you can do that is going to dismantle systematic oppression. So, you know what? I just, that's what I think. You can, that's just the me. That's a 6. Take it or leave it.
I gotta be honest though. Like I can't be up here perpetrating for our viewers and listeners. I like things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's trips. And I don't be wanting to fly coach. Yeah. If I, when you get a taste of these things, sports, right? I was just talking to my uncle about this, huge football fan. I'm also the president of the Black Alumni Society at the University of Miami. Let's go. They didn't let me into the suites now. So I'm like, I can't sit in a regular seat no more. So I don't want to. It's easy. I'll speak for myself, right? It's easy for me to sit up here and go like, oh yeah, like let me sort of shit on the idea of consumption and like, let's try to reorient ourselves toward cooperative economics, et cetera. Let's not covet, some of the things that money will get us. And then on the other hand, I'm like, I'm trying to go the same way, like, and so I just want to be honest about, I'm the culture guy too. So I always say you don't live outside of the culture. You live within it, and it impacts you as much as we want to impact it. And so I don't want to sort of pretend like there's a minefield out there that we have to kind of be cognizant of, even within ourselves, and that it's not failure to sort of go like, yeah, man, I went and bought them shoes and it really improved my mood. I like looking jazzy, but just to, again, be mindful of the ways in which like that can veer into taking us away from all of ourselves.
The duality.
Yeah.
And I think, and we talk about wholeness, and we talk about the full person. And again, we can have critiques on the system and still exist within it and still have wants, right?
Yeah.
I think what it comes to is the healthy understanding of that one, right? Everything that you just said, I'm a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna front. Me, 6 like trips too.
Right.
And for me, it's the same thing. Like, until you go skiing, I'm a winter sports guy.
Yeah.
Them snow passes, it costs a little.
It costs money.
It costs a little bit. And
Martha's Vineyard.
I'm in Vail, in Aspen.
It costs money,
But I know that. But I am not defining who I am because I do those things.
Right.
I try to do those things so I can experience who I am.
Right.
But I am not judging my worth on if I do that trip.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I can do that trip, but I'm not defined by that. And I think that's where I'm arguing at, is that we don't get lost. Like you said, we don't lose ourselves in this thing of I am defining myself based on my access to these situations. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree with everything that just said. I would even go as far as to say, like, it is in the awareness that you can actually have abundance, right? There's something about being fruitful and prospering, and understanding that there's streams that you are destined to be connected to, and it is our purpose to be prosperous. Like prosperous. So when I look at it, I just say, okay, well, what is this stream going to do? What is this stream going to do? What is it? Like, I'm very clear in my streams, and understanding that I'm probably going to take from one stream more than the other, just because of time and lifespans. So, but that doesn't mean that I don't create the streams, because I'm a builder, I'm a creator, so there is something about having wealth, but not allowing that wealth to dictate your worth. And when you operate from a place of fully understanding self and then working through the things that you struggle with, hell yeah, go for the bag. That's just my take, right? Like, go for the bag, because I want to be in the suite too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think about like the mindset piece of it, because we're sitting here obviously in the B.R.O space, and even with the B.R.O experience, the organization, right? Like, yeah, you have to have the abundance mindset that like the streams will come, the supports will come, if I'm obedient to this thing I'm called into. And I really feel good about I would not feel as complete as I do if I had the same amount of resources that I have now, doing something different that was really just key towards me having these, right? Like, so there is a bit of like, and I know we would talk about occupational wellness at a later, but like there is a bit of who do I have access to? What support do I have access to, et cetera, that can encourage me when that dream or that thought or that thing that I want to make sure gives me the financial, that I want the money to meet. When that meeting ain't happened yet, how do I look to the left and the right and know I got support for people that's like, no, keep going. Like, do that, ask for help, et cetera. But trust that, like,
it's gonna happen.
That will meet you when you get it to the point where it needs to meet you. And then when you are there, that money and that resource and that thing is going to feel like Six was saying, a way for you to experience more for yourself, as opposed to a way, a defining thing about who you are.
Yeah. 100%.
And you hit this on the point. I think it's a funny thing. I was just having this wild thought. You ever watch a movie and they say the name of the movie in the movie? Like
The name of the movie in the movie.
yeah. So you watch a Die Hard and they like, today's the day we.
Oh,
Yeah.
How do we redefine what it means to provide? And that's a long way to say how do we redefine? I know. I'm
redefine. Great thing. Give me Kaye, but
Well, how do we redefine what it means to provide? Like, if somebody is struggling with that idea of like, okay, they listen to us today, we talking, and like, how do we redefine it?
Well, I think the definition of a true provider is one who can give more than the material, and what they actually give to the world is character.
I think it's an open question. I think for people to just carry something, like, because we gave it the structural, we talked about this, our relationship with it, so we touched the personal. But like, again, I always want to give our listeners and people who are going to come across this and be like, if they don't take nothing else, I heard another way I can think about what it means to provide from people who are actively in the space of trying to redefine it. So
yeah. One thing that's coming up for me is a word that Barry used, which is abundance. I'm a man of responsibility, like in duty. These are things that like are just ancestrally, written on my soul, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that just is, what it is. And I think maybe one thing to do to kind of reframe maybe the way that provider is utilized external to any individual person is to ask yourself, like, how am I best? Like, how do I show up the best, and what tools do I need to like refine so that I can show up, whether it's in, romantic, intimate relationship, friendships, at work, etc. And contribute meaningfully in a way that isn't inconsistent with my own like well-being. That doesn't take me outside of myself so that I'm just performing, performing, providing, but actually showing up and knowing that all of me is what's necessary for us.
Makes all. I know I can do that. I can sing a little bit in the shower. But no, I think that's important. And for me, I think what I finally gotten to when I think about provider, because I think the same thing too. I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest baby to a baby. I always say that, and I've always looked at myself as the protector, the doer. I am always showing up because I want to be useful. I always thought about that.
Yeah.
I brought that into my relationships and my anxiety. Like, if I'm not doing something for somebody, then I'm not doing anything.
Then I'm not useful.
I'm not useful.
Ooh, I saw you, Barry.
And then I had to redefine what usefulness was. And I found a space that helped me redefine that. And I'm like, I'm useful because I listen. I'm a good listener. I'm useful because I like to have fun and I'm spontaneous.
Or I'm useful because I'm here.
There you go.
Yeah.
It is not tied to a task.
Yep.
Right.
Capitalism.
Right. Cause I'm thinking about how that impacts how we relate to others. And as we think about like, the young men that we work with, for example, it's like when you see somebody on the corner, don't have anything, homeless, unhoused, et cetera, like, do you still see someone that has inherent value and worth, right? Because if you can't, then it may mean that you need to reframe your relationship with money and resources and materiality in a way that will make it better because you have it, right? And I wonder if we can, you know, and the we includes me, right? Like I wonder if I walk down the street and go like, like how do I feel about that? How do I feel about that? How do I feel bear witness to that? And can I really look at that person as a human being? And if I can't, like what filters are there that need to be unpacked? Yeah, because you know that there's that thing, right? That utility that's walking by that, not bearing witness to it and not letting it impact you. You know, one interpretation of that is you're inconsiderate or, you know, whatever, right? That may be true. But then another one may be like, yo, like, what would I be? How would I view myself if I find myself in that situation? Do I think I have any worth at all? And I don't want to have to contend with that. So I don't want to pay attention to that. Right? If I lost everything today, right? Y'all got me here on this podcast. You got me here involved in this organization 5 years ago, et cetera. Like, what if all of that goes away and I'm just that guy on the street tomorrow? Like, do I still have something to offer?
Absolutely. I don't really have too much. I think y'all like nailed it, man.
Trained by the best. I was trained by the best. You over there going, foot to my leg.
It's like
that locked in. Yeah, it's rooted in character, man.
Yeah.
And we gotta hold that to. I think we have to hold that to the highest standard. That, you know, you're not what you earn. Your value is inherent.
Yeah.
And you're in who you are, how you treat people. I think that's the biggest thing. I really felt like I feel good about myself that I have finally gotten to in this, and still in this young life of mine, is that I am loved because I'm valued because I'm a loving human being.
Yeah.
And for all the brothers and, you know, sisters who listen, and anybody who listens, you are valuable because you are human, but because you impact so many more people just because you love and you care and you show up. And that is your value. You add to so many more people's lives than anything that you can give them.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, that's the bonus, right?
Yeah.
The external gift is the bonus. The bag, the trip, the dinner, that's the bonus.
Yeah.
But how you make somebody feel, how you impact them, how you care, how you hold, how you treat community, I think those are the things that I think we should always be looking at.
How necessary you are.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Necessary? I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it.
We should do a wellness workshop around like loving yours. Like loving your being, realizing that people need to walk away with certain like personal characteristic contracts that they need to operate from. Like, so authenticity, bravery, connection, that's my personal contract. I try to be authentic to myself. I try to be a brave human. I try to connect with people every single day.
Yeah.
Like that is what I strive to do the most, more than anything else. When I wake up, I want to be around and I want to create authenticity. I want to be brave enough to be around myself, my peers, and others to say what's true. And I also want to do it in a way where we can build connection and grow. Right? That's the ABCs of this work. You know, so it is also the ABCs in life. So people really, really need to, when you navigate from a place of providing and being a person who's responsible, like Jason mentioned earlier, for provision, it is critical that you know who the fuck you are. I don't want a person giving me bread they don't know themselves. What am I eating? What am I eating?
Because we don't eat it just anybody. I
was about to say,
you don't hear anybody.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
You get that bad kitchen to put you out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and sometimes people are operating from bad kitchens, man.
Yeah.
All of the tools or everything is man. That's not. That is the patty pies.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
So we gotta be very careful, and we gotta be aware of like where what's your come from. It ain't money. It's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. And we also got to go back and elevate and platform and continue to illuminate. We all have heroes in history that we don't look to because of their money. I mean, nobody talks about Malcolm X and the millions and millions of dollars he made, right? Nobody talks about Martin Luther King, the millions of dollars. We do have these models of what like longevity, provision and longevity look like, right? Because I just worry sometimes that like we self-select out of our own greatness because we look and go like, well, I don't, like I got $30,000 in credit card debt. I only make this much money, like and it's like, no. Like, yeah, that stability that, financial security provides is something that everybody, I feel like, should have access to because, again, it just frees you in a way. But like, I also just don't want us to get into this like idea that like our magic or our greatness is unlocked after we and that because that may not be a story, but that don't mean that like what you have to offer isn't necessary for community preservation.
Community preservation.
So, where can they find us?
We can find us at a lot of places. Always look for us on our social media handles and all platforms. You already know it's at B.R.O. You got us at the B.R.O Experience Foundation. We got the website. You'll see it at the bottom. I'm not going to say it every time. But before we leave you, I want to give you a challenge. And every time we listen and you're here, for us to be well together, for us to be in community, but also for us to give you something to get through. And my challenge for everybody who catches this episode is have one honest conversation about your relationship with money, your relationship with the idea of what it means to provide. And if somebody asks you what you bring to the table, I'm sorry, I'm triggered. My bad. I'm sorry.
Well, actually, what you bring to me,
oh my God. But honestly, seriously, have a conversation with yourself or somebody you love, someone you trust about your relationship with money, your relationship with the idea of being a provider, and just what that brings and what that triggers for you. And see what happens. And if this done anything for you, maybe you reframe and you get a new idea and have a new perspective on how you look at yourself and how you actually value who you are and what you mean.
Gems.
And so from today forward, let us all be well.
Be well. Peace, people.
Peace.